He's not going to make it.
He has to.
Blessed Akarat, thy eternal light protects me.
I had my reservations going into the Diablo 4 Early Access Beta. Diablo 2 and 3 are some of my favourite games full stop, but the mobile iteration of the franchise Diablo Immortal left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth thanks to Activision Blizzard's predatory free-to-play model. While we've yet to see exactly how they'll monetize Diablo 4, and they surely will one way or another, one thing we can be assured of is that Blizzard are quite simply still the best at this genre. There have been many changes to the formula though, not all of them good. For a start, the game-changing combat role introduced in the console version of Diablo 3 is now an evade move on a 5-second cooldown, which is still useful but seems arbitrarily restrictive. The UI and inventory screens have been overhauled and identified items are out, as is adventure mode, but the skill tree is vaster and more intimidating than ever, and I count that one as a positive. Once more, the world of Sanctuary is imperiled by the forces of evil. There's no sign of Diablo or his siblings this time around, at least not yet, and instead the big bad is Lilith, daughter of hatred. Mephisto is her dad, apparently. A powerful primeval credited with the creation of Sanctuary itself. Reawakened by an ancient cult, Lilith has raised an army of demons that are sweeping across Sanctuary. Only the Wanderer can hope to stand against them, aided by a handful of crestfallen and desperate heroes. So far, so Diablo, right? But in Diablo 4, Blizzard are leaning heavily into the gothic horror themes of the universe. I mean, even more heavily than usual. In the first few minutes, your horse is eviscerated by an unseen terror, and by the end of the first hour, you'll have witnessed some pretty gruesome, maybe even shocking violence. The story is pulling no punches and looks set to burrow deeply into the macabre lore of the universe. It's in everything, you see. Atmosphere runs down the walls in shiny rivulets, winds howl and rain lashes the bloodied mud. Everywhere you go there's decay. Dead bodies lay bloated and forgotten buildings reduced to embers simmer in the gloom, and evil lurks beneath the veil of every shadow. It's an effectively provocative art style, and Blizzard have lost none of their touch. There's also wildlife everywhere, which more than once led me to postulate on the life expectancy of, say, a helpless deer or bunny in this world. If they're not battling against the harsh winter winds, they're being ripped apart by wargs and werewolves, or catching a stray fireball in the face from my brutal but clumsy sorcerer. They bring the world to life though, adding a touch of beauty to an otherwise grim place. Something else that brings the world to life, though perhaps not in quite as welcome a way, is other players. Diablo 4 leans closer towards an MMO setup, with you sharing the world with other adventurers as you do in Diablo Immortal, which for me at least subtracts from the whole lone wanderer in a hopeless world theme. I hope you can turn this off somehow in the full release, as I'm just not a big fan of seeing other people charging around the world with silly names and sillier titles. As in previous games, your primary concern is killing, looting and levelling up. You don't control your stats, which jump up with each level gained, but you do decide which skills to unlock, upgrade or assign. Disappointingly, Diablo 4 maintains the heavily restrictive skill system that only allows you to equip 6 skills at a time from the huge amount on offer. It doesn't even let you do that until you reach level 8, and while I understand that this is in service to the art of build crafting, it means many players may not even see or experience all the available skills. There are so many for each tier of the tree, each with upgrades that can modify them the way they do in Diablo 3, that the skill trees become daunting almost immediately. With 5 classes to choose from, that's Barbarian, Rogue, Sorcerer, Necromancer and Druid, though the latter 2 were locked in the beta, and dozens of weapon archetypes, the ability to build a character to suit your playstyle is stronger than ever. Not to mention that Diablo 4 is the first in the series to feature a proper character creator complete with optional faces, hairstyles and accessories. You can also alter some of the details and apply transmog skins for your gear for absolutely no cost in the game. All you need to do is find and salvage a piece of gear for the skin to become available. Gameplay is more or less what you'd expect, but the game feel is sublime. Each character plays differently. The Rogue is swift and fluid, built around ranged combat with traps and stealth kills. The Sorcerer feels methodical and precise, able to focus on one particular element or generalise between many, and the Barbarian is a savage powerhouse who shakes the screen when they attack the enemy. At certain milestones, they develop even more unique traits, such as the Barbarian being able to master certain weapons for increased effectiveness, or the Rogue adding combo attacks to their repertoire. So many years playing Souls-likes and roguelites has left me with an itchy evade finger, but in Diablo 4, the onus is on brute forcing your way through many encounters, and you'll only really get into trouble when you're heavily outnumbered, although that happens a lot. While you can fast travel between waypoints in towns and cities, Diablo 4 also introduces mounts for the first time. I didn't get to try it in the beta, but I've seen it in motion. You can purchase horses once you reach a certain milestone and complete a certain quest, and they're to make travelling between points much faster. While fast travel is convenient, you'll miss out on so many random events and precious loot drops if you jump back and forth all the time. Occasional performance issues marred the beta experience overall, but not enough to dampen my enthusiasm. It was mostly things that can and will be fixed: server disconnects, rubber banding when leaving cities, and some odd physics here and there with enemy sprites. In terms of gameplay, I'm only left a little cold towards the random effects attached to resources in the world. Shrines, for example, are often seen as a safety net when you're in a tough dungeon, particularly health shrines. In Diablo 4, these and other items can be cursed, so even using them spawns a host of enemies to deal with, and the game doesn't tell you which ones are cursed until you use them. It's a rarity, but it can frustrate. Vendors are different too, with different salesmen in every town that offer a limited stock of wares and services. Learning that the adventure mode is out in favour of random events in the huge open areas initially had me a little worried, but after seeing the size of just the first map and experiencing the frequency of random events, dungeons and encounters, I'm fairly confident that Diablo 4 will keep us pretty busy come release. The best indicator of whether or not a game has that certain something is how I feel when a beta ends. In the case of Diablo 4, I feel a bit hollow now, and the June 6 release date couldn't seem further away. Sanctuary is a world rich with lore, a tapestry of interwoven tales and histories that feels familiar in ways I find difficult to fully describe. Little audio-visual touches are the icing on the cake, and I can't wait to get to grips with the full game when it launches on June 6th this year.
I'm not ready yet.
Hi there, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe. Maybe tag that bell icon too, so you're kept up to date with everything we post going forward. And if you want to go and support us via our Patreon, we appreciate everything that you guys do for us. In the meantime, I've been Mick Fraser for God is a Geek, and you guys have been lovely. Bye.